My name is Dave Aschheim, and I founded this company about 10 years or so ago. And the company is called Engage Buy Sell, but we've got lots of different divisions. We've got one for guide, buy, sell that's for cultural institutions, and another one for training and for charities called Give, Buy, Sell. The next month, we're going to be rolling all these into just one company called Engage Buy Sell. And Casey, introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. My name is Casey Lowenthal. I'm the customer success manager here at Engage Buy Sell. My role is really just to support all of our current clients with making sure the system is up to their meeting their goals, that they know about best practices, tips and tricks, and ultimately that they find the value in the services.
Great. Well, go ahead, everybody, and note in the chat window what organization you're with and where you're from. Kristen already asked a question. We want as many questions as possible. What's your experience working with volunteers for nonprofits? Casey, we probably have about 600-700 organizations that are nonprofits, and I'm guessing 100 or so of them have volunteer organizations or groups that are using the texting, and we'll show you some examples. But Kristen, I think we've got quite a bit of experience, and we can always, if we run out of time here, we could do a one-on-one with you and show you some examples of how volunteer organizations are using text messaging. It's just such a great way to interact with people that are certainly not sitting at their computer waiting to hear from you. So, all right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk a little bit about some trends and why you want to try text messaging. And then Casey's going to take over and we're going to dive into our dashboard, our back end, and we're going to have everybody text in to join this list, pretending that you're joining the list for some training or you're a volunteer, like Kristen said, or some other reason. And then we're going to push you out 5 or 6 or 7 different text messages. We promise at the end of the webinar, we're going to delete everybody's phone number, so you don't have to worry about being on some text message list. Casey, we got a question.
Answering it right now.
All right, great. And so some of these questions we'll answer as we're talking, and others Casey or Anna will answer, but keep the questions coming because that's what makes this really fun. Engage Buy Sell, we've been around 14 years or so ago. 2 basic parts of our business. The top row is about text messaging. And then you can see down here in the bottom, we also have a smartphone mobile app. It's not something that a person has to download. It's a mobile version where you can store all kinds of content, from messages to benefits to smartphone tours to training guides. So everything you can imagine you can build on these mobile sites. Today, we're going to focus mostly on the text messaging. We've got about 4,000 clients, so we've seen it all. So we would love to try to help you folks as well. Some of our clients.
Dave, do you want to share your screen?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let me do that. I forgot to share my screen. Thank you, Casey. All right, how about now? Is that shared? How does that look, Casey?
Great.
All right. About 4,000 clients all over the world. Some of you from these organizations are here today. If so, if you see your name there, put it in the chat window. Otherwise, if you're one of our clients, let us know in the chat window. It's always kind of fun to see which of our clients are here, but you can see it ranges from Bloomberg, huge financial organization, CertaPro Painters, a wonderful large franchise, to casinos, to Comcast, to Smithsonian, and to CASA. So every organization in the country that has a website and has a reason to engage with an audience, we think you really need to have text messaging. And you'll hopefully see that as we go through this. Email, used to be the big way we would all communicate, but one of our clients told me recently they view email as just another app on my phone that I check every time I think about it, but I don't check it all that often. I think the number one reason, Casey, you might chime in here too, you want to engage with text using text messaging because of this item here, this open rate. The 90% open rate is kind of the trend we're seeing in the industry versus about a 20% open rate with email. I'd love to see if you all in the chat window, let me know if you guys know what your email open rates are, plus or minus. If you work in that department, let us know what your open rates are. Casey, you've been told by your clients, what kind of open rates are you seeing with your clients?
Yeah, it's 20 to 25%. Sometimes it drops even lower than that. But one thing I always touch on is not many of us have 100 unread text messages on their phone, but I bet you about half of us on here have close to 100 unread emails in our work email. So just that alone kind of shows the promptness and kind of attentiveness that a text can bring.
Yeah, that's right. I'd be interested also in thanks for that, Jacqueline, in the chat. I'd be interested to see if you folks currently get text messages from a doctor or a dentist or some other organization. Let us know in the chat window what kind of text messages that are business related you folks are all getting. And this final point down here, user control. A beauty of text messaging is we all can opt in or opt out of these lists. So if I don't want to get any more texts, I reply stop. And by law, that provider has to remove that phone number. So people can text in, and we're all going to do that in just a second, to join various lists, and they can also opt out. All right. Why do you need Engage Buy Sell? And by the way, the items here, Trish, that's a good one. Medical, membership, doctor's pharmacy, mortgage. Yeah, that's right. Your mortgage is due. When we all get a text, we're just trained to look at the phone. And because it's 160 characters, it's just so easy for us to grasp that without going into my email and looking and opening and worried about virus. That's just not the case. Okay, so why do you need Engage Buy Sell? Well, with email, you don't need a company like Engage Buy Sell because you could go to Gmail, whether you're an individual or a company, and without talking to anybody, you can set up an email system. That is not the case with texting. The carriers, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, they control text messaging, and they have given, I'll call them licensing, but really it's a technology to organizations to be able to send text messages. And very few companies in the country have wanted to spend the millions of dollars to build that infrastructure to do that. So you need a company like Engage Buy Sell to partner with to get you your 10-digit number, get you your reports, all your analytics, and how you send out these text messages. So if you've decided to go text messaging, hopefully you'll pick Engage Buy Sell, but whoever you pick, you will need to go with some kind of a partner, and then we'll set your system up in our platform. Casey's going to screen share in a few minutes and show you how that works. And then Casey's team will teach you everything you need to know about how to send, how to receive, what are best practices. All of that is part of the suite of tools that we give you. So it's a one-stop shop from the tech to kind of the consulting part as well. You'll get a dashboard where you can manage your subscribers and you can build campaigns and analyze all of your reports. I think this is a key thing, and I would love for Trish and Jeff and Rachel and everybody that's in the chat window here, let us know what are the items that you're thinking of for your job. I've seen some workforce development folks, I've seen some volunteer people, some training folks. What is it that in this list of 8 things here kind of float your boat that you would like to be able to communicate with. Keep in mind, instead of sending an email where the open rate is 20 to 40%, you're going to get a 90% plus or minus response. And you're going to get it within, what is it, Casey? How many minutes are people saying these days is kind of
usually 2 minutes.
2 or 3 minutes. I mean, can you imagine, everybody, whether you're sending it to 100 of your employees or a group of 10 people you're trying to train or 10,000 of your customers, you're going to get that text read in a couple of minutes. That is just unheard of in today's communication. And I think that's why, and you'll hear Casey and I kind of harp on this, you're just never going to find another tech tool that is as powerful for engaging. So we've got some coming in here now, urgent messages, alerts. Would love to hear also in the chat, what are the audiences that you guys would love to go after? Casey, maybe you could just hit on quickly some of these things in the lower section, and then you're going to show these in real time in just a second. But what are the items that you've been seeing are really popular these days?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the ones listed. So training materials, following maybe an onboarding, an orientation, or a team training, just pushing out content to additional resources, maybe a follow-up survey, urgency messages, so reminders of upcoming events, emergency alerts for staff, maybe road closures, inclement weather, promotions is kind of more company communication, kind of brings some excitement and exposure, maybe a President's Club invitees or someone who won Employee of the Month, kind of giving them a little hoorah. Donations. So I think we had some nonprofit ones on here. It's a big one in terms of kind of reaching out to your kind of donor base and letting them know about Giving Tuesday or event dates that you have or upcoming events that they may want to attend, and not always just asking for donations, but more just kind of company exposure to people that have shown some loyalty to your business.
You know, Vaughn also had an interesting comment in the chat window, everybody, where he said English and non-English audiences. That is one of the beautiful things about text messaging is you can segment text messaging however detailed you want it to be. So you could have an English speaking group for this topic, a Spanish speaking group for this topic, write your message in Spanish, schedule it to go out tomorrow morning at 9:30 to those 30 people or 3,000 people in that list. They get it. It can be personalized, and all of a sudden it's, you know, Dear Dave, and then in Spanish, here's the content. So the idea that you can target this and you can do it in different languages, I think is just really, really powerful. Casey, why don't you answer Judy's question? Just, it's a really good one about are you seeing anything by a different age group?
Yeah, I think sometimes the challenge could be maybe getting them to opt in, but once that's kind of passed on, everybody's using texting these days. Grandparents are texting their grandkids and parents are texting their kids. So if you asked me that question 5 years ago, 10 years ago, probably stick with email, but the game has changed and it's definitely going both ways. You'll still send emails, but this is just another more kind of up-to-date form of communication, and people love it.
You'll probably even notice how many of you get text messages to allow you to reset your password. You know, it used to be always done by phone, but texting is in a way a little bit more of a secure thing because you got to have your phone on you to see the little code to put in if you need to reset your Wells Fargo or Con Ed password. So I think Casey's right. Years ago, it would have been a little bit skewed on the younger side, but now our studies have shown that it's just really any age group. If you let them opt into the list, they're going to prefer it. All right, good questions. Keep the questions coming. All right, so how does the texting work? And in a second, we're going to have everybody text in to see it in person. We call texting two options. You've got the inbound. I can text in to join a list. And what that might look like, in fact, let me just go here. Here we go. If I wanted to join this Xfinity, in fact, Xfinity is going to be using Engage by Cell August 18th at kind of a neighborhood gathering. So they're going to post on their website and on flyers and posters, join the fun, text Memphis to 56512, or you can scan that QR code to learn about the DJs we're going to have and the AirPods we're going to be giving away and all these events. What better way to get people to join the list, give them a little incentive, a little promotion. And then on the right side, we developed this for some restaurants to join this, restaurant club, or to join the text message club text in. So what I'm suggesting is you can very easily, with our system, Casey will set up a code for every one of your organizations. And if you have a big organization, you might want many codes. People can opt in by using a different word for a specific list. So this list might be for Spanish speakers. This list might be for English speakers. Or Casey, you can explain the second one we've got here.
In terms of opting in?
Or pushing out a text.
Oh, yeah. So you can push out, if you have a list of subscribers, maybe from previous events that you've held, or they've filled out authorization to be part of your list, you can upload, as long as you have their cell phone number, a list of subscribers to the system. And I'll be able to show that as well a little bit once we hop onto the screen share.
So if you have a list of folks, especially if it's employees or people that you're working with, you can upload that list in an Excel and push that out. Or just like those signs I showed you, people can opt in. All right, so Casey, tell everybody what you want them to do.
Perfect. So two different ways that you can opt into messaging. Open up your text messaging on your phone. The phone number you'll use is 56512. In the body of the text, you write the word demo and then just send it. Or you can scan that QR code, just point the camera on your phone. Most phones kind of have that built into the camera these days. It'll initiate something you'll have to click. When you do, it'll autofill the phone number. It'll autofill the keyword. And then you simply just send it. That would be the same of how our system would work for your organization as well. So it's great to have opt into messaging and just have a QR code on an employee handbook, or in the break room, or at events on table tents, kind of like Dave showed with the examples of opting in. So giving people multiple resources and ways to opt in. QR codes made a huge comeback with the pandemic. So most people are used to scanning them and finding out what comes out on the other side.
In the chat window, a few of you that did this, let us know what you got back. Type out what you got back. And I really encourage everybody to do this. As I said, I promise at the end of this webinar, we will delete everybody's number, but it will be fun for you to receive the sample text messages that Casey is going to send out in just a second. So if you received the text, let us know in the chat window what you got back. All right. Okay, Judy, thanks for signing up for a workshop. Okay, great. And of course, Casey, that can be based on whatever word people have texted in. They can get back a different response and sign up for a different list.
Exactly.
Here's a couple more examples. Middlesex County, New Jersey, their workforce development will include this kind of a signage on a website, on a banner. Here is a tour for Cesar Chavez, and you can text in HOPE to this number to learn about stop number 1 and watch a video. How fun is that, and how easy is that? All right, so I'm going to stop sharing, Casey, and we will turn the sharing over to you so that we can show you part of what we wanted to do is show you the dashboard, how easy it is to really use these tools. So Casey, take it away and show us a little bit about how the texting actually works from a user's point of view.
All right, you guys are seeing my screen with the texting?
Yep.
Great. So we mentioned uploading before I hop into pushing out messages, uploading of a list. So you can go to manage subscribers, has a list. Some of you may recognize your phone numbers in there, choosing that particular list. And then you upload, find the file from your computer. We can help you guys format that file in a particular manner, but essentially it just needs to have a name and phone number. You upload it, and then that will create, this is the chunk of ones that I uploaded earlier today, but you can have as many in the system as you guys want.
So easy to create your list, because that's the first question everybody asks Casey and me is, all right, I don't have everybody's number. For those that you do, you can upload it and put it into a list like you're seeing here, and or you can ask people to text in to join that list. So we now have what, 20, 30 people or so, Casey, on this list from
29 or so.
29 people. All right, great. So we've got a list of 29 that are interested in this topic, and you can tell in the column marked list, that happens to be the list that everybody is in.
Perfect. Then I see in the chat, looks like Jacqueline didn't get a response, but just make sure if you text the phone numbers 56512 and demo, just like Anna responded back.
Yeah, and Anna will help you, Jacqueline.
All right. So we're going to push out a few messages to everyone that has opted in. So you can preload messages in the system. So you can come in here and set your messaging to go out for the next 6 months, 2 years if you want. But mostly people go in, set it for the next couple weeks, couple months, if you already know what you plan to send out. But it's very simple to build out a message if you need to send one out immediately. But any pre-built messages are housed in this scheduled text area. So I'm going to push out the first message. So this is an example of a reminder. So you could use this for an upcoming meeting, whether it's minutes or hours away, or even days or weeks out. So you can send out multiple reminders to update people. And we're just going to go ahead and send it now to everybody that is on that list. It's going to tell me 26 messages went out. Some of our numbers were on hold, and as long as all goes to plan, you guys should most of you also receive a text.
So in the chat window, let us know if you got that reminder text. And you can see there's also a little added bonus. We added the phrase, if you can't make it to this meeting, reply, and Sandy will determine some options. So go ahead, everybody, and reply, hi, Casey, or hi, Dave, or when's the next meeting? Go ahead and just reply with anything you want to reply, because this texting, if you choose to do this, you can get very granular. You can have a one-on-one chat with another user, all being done through this dashboard where we're capturing all this, so that you're not having your own employees use their own phones to do this. So Casey can come over here to the Q&A and look to see. All right, here we go. Dave and Casey, I like what I'm seeing. I'll not be able to make it. So Casey, just for fun, go ahead and reply hi or something. And when Casey does that, it's not going to the whole list. It's just going back to that individual. We have a client in Florida, Botanical Garden, that has signs around the garden that say, have a question about the plants that you're seeing, text in the word chat. So someone might text in the word chat, and I might say, what is this plant I'm looking at? And they might even include a picture. So their staff, doesn't have to be at the garden, of course, can be anywhere, can come right in here and answer these questions. So the back and forth part of text messaging is just so powerful. Great.
The next one, so we have what's called MMS messaging. This is going to answer Kristen. Is yes, you can send out messages that exceed the 160 character limit with an MMS, multimedia messaging service. And that allows you to include a little picture, GIF, short video, short audio clip, or even a virtual contact card to allow people to save your phone number for future reference. And that can provide company branding. But I'm going to push out one Now, the thing about MMS messaging, it's sent out a little bit different. So everyone might not receive it at the same kind of immediacy as an SMS. It's sent a little bit different from the carriers. So sometimes it can be minutes or even hours. We recommend with MMS messaging that you don't use these as reminder texts. So if there's something really timely, reminder meetings in 15 minutes, don't send an MMS because it might not come at the exact time. But if it's something like an invite and it doesn't matter if I receive it right now or in a couple hours, then MMS can be great for really anything. So we use this as kind of a Labor Day, but this could be happy birthday to all August birthday employees, or happy anniversary, or enjoy your holiday, or food trucks out in the lobby today, or in the courtyard. So it can be pretty fun and kind of jazz it up. I mean, we all send pictures to our friends, and it's not really any different with your employees.
And remember, you're trying to get people to read and or respond. And when you send an email, if you had a picture, it's just going to go into spam, or it's just one of 100 that I'm not going to look at. You send a picture of the little happy dogs with the scarves around their neck, or a birthday greeting or something. Maybe you're trying to promote an event. So maybe you have a picture of that event, or someone just got promoted. That could be a picture of that person. Or it's a product you're trying to promote. All of that can be sent as these picture images. So it just makes it stand out from the normal kind of email communication. All right, great.
So we're going to fire off a few more a little bit quicker. These are all going to be kind of standard SMS now. So this next one is kind of alert or showing some urgency. So I mentioned before, road closures, weather, power outages, flood warnings, whatever that may be. You guys can maybe you probably wouldn't have something like that maybe preset in the system, but you can quickly add it in, choose your list of people on there, and send that out.
Probably, I would say 90% of our clients that use text messaging have uploaded the directory of employee and contractor phone numbers. They sometimes don't use it all year long, but it's in the system so that if there is some kind of an emergency or urgent action, from my phone, I can log in even from home and hit send, type out my little message, and off it goes. Casey, an interesting question in the chat window from Maggie.
For opting in, sure. We
can you put the QR code on? Yeah.
So, if anybody else needs to opt in, put it on the screen for a couple seconds. Just go ahead and point your camera and scan that away. Can also
and
manually text demo to 56.
Yep. And TCA in the chat window, you might do this too. But that's QR code or texting is one way to join that list.
All right. Maggie, did you get on? Okay.
Great. All right. So Casey, we talked kind of about relationships and appointment and reminders. And then we talked about using it for something more urgent. The meeting time has changed.
So this next one is kind of sharing of news. We mentioned before, kind of maybe anniversary celebrations, birthdays, celebrating in this example, maybe kudos to the sales team. So kind of just company camaraderie, building some excitement. This could be, if you're a nonprofit, maybe a text of everybody that attended your event and thanking them. And maybe you created a Flickr site with a bunch of images that your photographer took, and link them to there and thank them and let them have access to seeing a reminder of how much fun they had, or share it with their team. So really anything that you can fit in that 160 characters can go out. That can be links and all that good stuff. Next one we're going to do is kind of on the training realm. So this is kind of going to have a hyper or that go out? For some reason, that one didn't go out. All right, so jammed the system with that last text, so it should take a moment or two. But the idea of this one is to include kind of a YouTube link. So just basically using a hyperlink to go out into the system. So let me see if that one will go out. Let's see. All right. So hopefully some of those go out.
Mhm.
But kind of the idea is training video for any sort of leadership details. And then the second one is going to be a link to a mobile site that's going to have a bunch more information. So I'll make sure that that one goes out. Right. Also going to show the page that this can be on. So this is our mobile web platform. We're going to send this out as a text, but we're all familiar with QR codes nowadays. So I'm going to put another QR code up there. You scan this QR code, is going to take you outside of texting and take you to a mobile site. The mobile site will kind of be a meld of a ton of different things you can do without hitting your kind of limit on a texting platform. So this is going to show you ability to exceed far more than that 160 character count. So be brief in your text and link them to this site with tons of details about the event and where to sign up, and links to previous events that you've had, just similar to like a website would be, but without having to be a web designer. There's also going to be quizzes and polls. So the first one is, what's your favorite season? Just, we all have one, so just pick one and submit it. You'll get results for that, see what other people submit. There's forms to sign up, so being able to submit your contact information with the ability to have your team receive it, get confirmation emails back. There's videos. So we mentioned an MMS can have a video as well. This simply just allows you to upload streaming videos straight from YouTube onto a page. There's PDFs, so attachments, PDFs, Word docs, PowerPoint presentations, just kind of having this content available to anybody quickly and easily, whether it's an employee handbook for HR purposes, or maybe it's an event invite for a team member. Maybe it's kind of specs for the volunteers we talked about before, of what they need to do for their training content. Maps as well can be there. Basically just drop in a pin on a Google Maps. If they click that get directions, they just use their phone to help navigate them to that location. And then Dave mentioned our kind of nonprofit division, Give by Sell. If you click that, you're not making a donation, but it'll take you to a page that will show you a little bit of what our Give by Sell mobile donate service can be for events that allow people to put in their credit card and actually complete donations that go straight to your business without us taking any sort of cut.
And in general, Casey, can you hear me okay, Casey?
Yep.
Yeah. Judy had mentioned about links to surveys, but in general, it can be a link to anything. You mentioned here at the bottom a donation page. Maybe it's a link to some onboarding forms you need new employees to fill out, or a volunteer form, or just anything you can imagine. When you schedule and send these texts to people that have signed up for that list, and the phone buzzes and dings, it's they're going to look at that. And if there's a little bit.ly there, it could go to our tools that Casey is circling here, or it could go to your own website. And how handy is that, that you're just dropping the link right onto their phone, and it goes right to the right page where that information is, or where they could sign up for your event. We had a question about Blackbaud. Yes, you can, with many different pieces of software, we have something called an API that can go in and interact with Blackbaud and many other pieces of software. So that's very possible. Meredith asked a great question about, can it be embedded into a WordPress website? And yes, you can have all kinds of things like this can be embedded in a website. We also have even the sign up to join a text message list can be embedded in a website. So that is another option. Good questions. How about some more questions about use case, regulation, how frequently? Vaughn's asked, we have sign up resellers. We probably have 20 or 30 organizations that are consultants that have their own set of clients. So that's very common for us, Vaughn. So if any of you have a group of clients or organizations that you think would like this, yeah, please call Casey or myself. It'd be great. So I'd love to know what you folks are thinking about. What are the now that you've seen Casey's 6 or 7 kind of use cases, what are you all thinking in terms of how you would start by using one of these services? So go ahead and in the chat window, let us know, which of these are most interesting to you and your circumstance. Kate asked about Stop, and yes, it's an automatic removal. We don't take the person off the list, but we flag it so that they don't get future text messages. I think once you start with texting, you'll find 5 or 10 other uses for it within 30 days. Don't you think that's kind of what you see, Casey, is I start with appointment reminders or sending a coupon or something, but the next thing you know, they're calling you with 5 other ideas.
Yeah, and it's good to start out, just maybe look at smaller groups sometimes and just get kind of their feedback on it. It's always great to kind of game plan what you plan to send out as well. So having a particular cadence of how frequently you're going to push out messaging, what kind of content you're going to push out, because people like to know what it's going to be, and then they'll be comfortable with the interactions, knowing of kind of what it's going to be.
Yeah, I see. There's an interesting one about sending links to YouTube videos about historic things around town. How creative an idea is that? It's really, really smart. Many of you have asked us what these services cost, and it really runs the gamut. If you're a very small organization and not sending out many, it's probably $50, $75 a month. It's just not that expensive. If you're one of these giant organizations that you saw earlier, it might be a couple $1,000s a month, because they might be sending, Casey, you have some clients that might send out 300,000-400,000 texts, some workforce clients in Texas, 300,000-400,000 texts in a month.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, it might be a couple $1,000s a month, but it can start, at $50, $75 a month just to get you going. And that's kind of our mission, is to help all of you get started with text messaging. If budgets are a tough thing, just let us know. We're going to work with you to get this thing up and going. And then Casey's going to be your consultant to kind of walk you through how this really works and how you can maximize it. But there are very few times where we talk to somebody where text messaging should not be in their system. It should almost always be. Yeah, and then Judy asked cost changes. Yeah, if your use case goes from a couple hundred a month, Judy, to 5,000, 10, 20,000 a month, then certainly our costs are higher because we have to pay the phone companies per text. So it goes up a little bit, but our goal is to get everybody that's on the call today their text messaging account and get started. Casey, you're going to send a follow-up text where if somebody wants a demo, a one-on-one, wants to get started, all they've got to do is reply. So Casey will send that out in a few minutes. We will send a copy of this presentation to everybody in the morning. We've got a question from Meredith. Casey, if you want to try the Meredith question.
Yeah, so that service is called Mobile Giving. It's through the Mobile Giving Foundation that we partner with. And that service allows exactly like what you said. Someone can text in a keyword to a code. There's a preset amount of $5 to $50. It can be a reoccurring monthly donation, and it goes right on their phone bill. Takes about 5 seconds to complete a donation. It's great for kind of large events, high volume, or kind of campaigns where you races, sporting events, concerts where people don't want to necessarily pull out their credit card, but they'd still like to help the cause.
And just as an example, I included a real live example. The Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. has a sign next to Old Glory to try to help restore it. And they're raising $5 donations. So if you text in flag to 20222, you'll get back a text where you can reply yes, and then you donated $5.
If you don't reply yes, you don't make the donation. So if you want to just see it in action, you're not locked in on that first text. It does take that second confirmation.
Yeah. A lady asked us about nonprofits rates. Yes, we have significant discounts for nonprofits because we know money is so precious to the nonprofit world. So just mention when you call Casey or me that you're a nonprofit, and we will knock off a big percent off of your bill. But I think, you know, as we finish here, we are very passionate about text messaging. It's probably the fastest growing service in the history of our company. Casey, wouldn't you agree? I mean, the use cases are just infinite.
Yeah, I mean, we sent out 6 texts today just to kind of spark some ideas of what we see, but we always come across some new creative ways that clients expose us to other ways that they're using texting. So really there's no real end of what it can be. It's up to what you guys want to push out and what your constituents and donors and staff and everybody finds valuable. So yeah, like we said, texting it's ever changing. What it is now is not what it's going to be in 5 years, but we think we got a great tool, and we think that you guys could find some value in it.
Yep. Setup takes a couple of hours. So once you say, let's give it a try, we can get you up and going, and you can play with it and send some text messages to your colleagues and see how you like it. So Casey will send out one more text if you haven't already, and then tomorrow we'll
send it out.
Send it out. Great. Well, if we'll hang out here if anybody has more questions, but I think that wraps up the info that we wanted to share, and hopefully you all learned something. All right. Well, thanks very much, everybody. And if you have more questions, feel free to stay on and ask in the chat window, and Casey and I'll be here for another couple of minutes. Thanks so much. Thanks, Penny.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Thanks, Sherry. All right. Thanks, Gwen. Kristen, with Donor Perfect, yeah, we have integrated into lots of different software. So give us a call and we'll tell you how that would be done. So it's possible to do. Great. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up. Thank you, everybody. And we will talk with all of you very soon. Thanks so much, Casey.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Dave.
Okay.